Hello, and welcome to another episode of Glorious Life on Wheels. Oh my goodness, I am back in Quartzsite, Arizona. That's right. And I came here because I wanted to talk to and I wanted to interview Beth from Clouds and Sky YouTube channel. She has a really interesting story. She was a librarian, and you guys know how much I loved libraries and librarians as a child. So you know I had to interview her. But she retired, and she thought she was set. I mean, based on, having savings, having Social Security, and waiting till her full retirement age, she thought she did everything right. But things went haywire, especially after COVID, and she's now living in her SUV. And she's going to share some of that with you. But she's also going to post a video. It's actually will have posted by the time this video airs, so I'm going to drop a link to it in the description for this video. Go over and check out her channel and check out that video and say hello. But meanwhile, you know what? Let's go ahead and talk to Beth and find out what it's like living in her SUV and why she made this choice. Well, hello, Beth.
Hello, Carol. Hello.
How is it going?
Everything's going well.
Well, as I stated in the intro, you are now living in an SUV. Can you tell us what kind?
Yes, I'm living in a 2018 Chevy Equinox.
And how old are you?
I am 70. I just turned 70 in November.
All right.
Yeah.
And I detect a bit of an East Coast accent.
Yeah. I originally am from Long Island, New York.
Okay.
Lived in Arizona for a while.
So how long have you been living in your SUV?
Since December, so three full months, 3.5 months.
Can you tell us how you ended up living in your SUV? Was this something that when you retired you thought was going to be something down the line?
No, I used to watch van life videos and think, oh, it's so interesting, but I could never do that. I will never be doing that. Now I'm living in an SUV, so you never know. The world changed, as many of you know. And,
yes. And so when we were talking, you had savings.
I did. I left my job with savings. I thought it would last, but it kind of went in about 5 years, and maybe sooner.
Now, what do you think contributed to that?
The rise in prices and just trying to keep up with rents, because I retired in 2019. 2020, we know what happened.
Right.
Eventually, I had to use my savings just to supplement daily life because prices were rising so much.
Now, you were telling me about one situation where your rent was $800?
Yes, when I got to Tucson, I went to a place. I had lived in Tucson before. I went to graduate school there, and I rented apartments, for then. Well, anyway, when I went back in 2019, it was $800. A little over, maybe $850. After 2020, after COVID, it started going up. It went to $1,500. So I couldn't stay there anymore, and I kept going from one apartment to another, chasing rents. But eventually, there was nowhere to go.
And you were saying the last apartment that you lived in, you were almost afraid to go to leave your apartment.
Yeah, and I feel so bad, I went to that area because the rents were a little lower, and I had to do that. But no one should have to live in that kind of environment where they're afraid to go outside of their apartment. They were shooting,
No.
And that rent is even going up.
Yeah, that's not cheap. It's not cheap to live in a bad area where you're unsafe.
That's the thing. Yeah.
So there is no safe haven. So how long did it take you to come to terms or to decide? I mean, as soon as the rent went up, did you say, okay, that's it, I'm moving in my SUV? Or what was the process like?
It took about 4 years of just not having enough money to live. Like, I couldn't buy gas for my car, so I couldn't go anywhere, just sit in the apartment. I started going to food banks, and they're a wonderful resource, and I never thought I would have to use it. I was the person that would give to food banks when I was working, but I'm very grateful to them. So yeah, my life started to close in because just kind of surviving, maintaining.
I think that's the worst part of it, that you start to do less and less, have fewer and fewer contacts with the outside world, and pretty soon you're just living in almost like a cave inside of your residence, and you don't come out. And it's the isolation, I think, is probably among the worst things. What do you think?
Yes, I agree with that. The isolation was bad, and people are so scared, and nobody talks to each other in those communities, at least in my experience.
Well, they're afraid that the person they're talking to may be about to mug them.
Right, and I had that happen. I was walking around the grounds one day, and I got asked 2 times, "Do you live here?" I said, "Yes, I do." "You know, what are you doing?" I said, "I'm taking a walk." Because they're so scared. I don't blame them.
So everyone's a suspect.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
That would be hard. So what was the final straw?
The final straw was just more crime was happening. I was depressed and unhappy and felt like my life, I was just, what was I going to? I had no goal whatsoever. I just,
You were just existing.
My YouTube, it was great. That was my social, and I thank them very much. They know from that time. And I just want a better life. I wanted a little bit of adventure. I want to meet people. I just couldn't seem to do it. And I wanted a relief from the financial stress.
So you wanted to take the pressure of the financial stress, and basically you wanted to reclaim your life, it sounds like.
Yes. And this seemed to be a way to do it. It was scary at first to think of doing it. I would go out in my SUV in the apartment complex parking lot and try to imagine it and sitting there. And it was a process. I got a process.
What would you say was the most difficult part of starting out, or what were a couple of the most difficult things about starting out?
Okay, when I first started out, I didn't have the configuration that I have now. And just moving around, not having some conveniences.
So getting used to not having a shower.
Right.
Okay, for instance.
Right. And just getting around the vehicle. Now it's much better. It's been modified. And
so learning how to maneuver in such a tight space,
yes,
and having it set up so that it's easier to do.
Right. And I know many people live in it originally, like in a car configuration, and it can be difficult. I made it work.
So you think maybe watching some YouTube's videos and seeing maybe how other people do it might be a help?
Yes, there's different ways to do it. You can do a no build, or where you just leave the vehicle as it is, fold the seats down.
Right.
Some vehicles are better suited to this, or
Right.
you can do a build. And I was lucky enough to participate in Van Aid.
Oh, Van Aid, you did that this year.
Yes, I did it in February, recent. And that was game-changing and life-changing. That was a community I had been looking for. It was an incredible community. Volunteers gave their time to work on it. I mean, it changed everything, how I move around in the vehicle. I have a comfortable bathroom situation.
So having the right configuration is key.
I have a beautiful bed. Yeah.
Okay. And learning about
me.
And it sounds also like learning about helpful and helping communities.
Yes. That was I was kind of in a bad way, like thinking, I tell people it restored my faith in humanity.
Wow.
That Van Aid. I have friends from there now, and yeah, I'm just so grateful to them. They really changed it for me.
So it sounds like getting together with other folks in the community and expanding your support group and your support base
Right.
has made a huge difference in your attitude also.
Oh, and I don't want to forget to say the RTR and the WRTR, the women's
Right.
gathering, and the RTR put out by Howa. That was great. That was my first time ever doing that.
As far as your budget, has it gone down dramatically what you spend?
Yes, I think it has.
Would you say 50%, 30%?
Let me think about the things. Of course, you got to really be up on car maintenance. I had to buy some new tires.
So that goes up because you're driving more.
Yeah, I would say try to have a savings for car maintenance things or car repair.
And then did your gas go up some?
Gas did go up because when I was in the apartment, I really didn't use the car much.
Okay.
You know, it was either sell it or live in it. That's why I'm living in it now. But so now even just going around Quartzsite, I haven't really traveled yet. I'm going to be at the end of my time here in Quartzsite. I find I'm using more gas because I'm just driving around the town and going here and there.
But it sounds like the amount that even the amount that you spend on maintenance and gas still wouldn't add up to the rent.
No, and not paying rent, my car's paid off now.
Now, would that have been even possible in this short a time?
Yeah, it was taking so long, and
my
it's
goodness.
paid off. Yeah, it's such a relief. Yeah, so because rent was a big chunk.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I have definitely been feeling the relief.
So there's good in that the finance. There's initially it sounds like the bad in terms of, you know, the configuration and being uncomfortable until you know how to do it. That would be the bad and the ugly. But overall, would you say the good outweighs the bad,
Yes.
or does it?
For me, yeah,
Wow.
without a doubt. I know it's not for everyone, but for me, there's so many good things that have happened from this.
So you didn't even have to hesitate. I thought you were going to think about it for a minute. You just
No.
instantly.
Oh no, I have friends now. I had not one friend. You know, in life, I had. I feel like I'm part of a community, and I can buy what groceries I want.
So your life has, from what you're saying, it sounds like your life has gotten better.
Yes, in so many ways. I mean, the only way that's different, I do live in a vehicle, but it's getting more regular all the time. Sure, there's things I'd like that I don't have, like to be able to stand up someday,
Yes.
maybe inside the vehicle. Well, I'll be talking about that, I guess.
On your video that you're
Yeah,
going to do.
on my video, yeah.
But it sounds like for you, it was the best choice at the time.
It is. And even people that thought I was a little bit crazy to do it, like, they understand now. You know?
Well, I guess especially the ones whose rents are going up and they're in this situation they can't do anything and they can't buy
Yeah.
groceries, and they're probably looking at you and maybe having a little bit of envy.
Well, maybe, and some people tell me, and I'm so thankful. I give them a little hope. Some people that want to do it, but they don't know if they can, and I know some people can't.
Right.
I get that.
It's not for everyone.
No, I get that totally, and I know,
But for you, it works. And
yes.
what do you think is next when you can no longer drive?
That's a good question. Well, now I can save money.
So you weren't saving before?
No, I had zero savings. Very bad. Not recommending anybody do that.
But you didn't. It sounds like you didn't have a choice at that point.
Right, and I did have some debt. It's down now. It's going down, down, down. By the summer, I think I'll be debt free.
And debt is a great source of stress.
Oh, it's terrible. I didn't know how I was going to pay it off, and I didn't want to leave that,
Well, you're a responsible person, and you wanted to assume your responsibilities.
Yeah,
You're an
so,
honorable person.
I try, and I can save money. That was the key. You said, what are you going to do when you can't drive? So I'm going to start putting money away, because, even apart from someday maybe getting a bigger vehicle, if I can't drive, I would want maybe a tiny home or
A trailer, maybe?
a trailer on a lot that I could put it and not have a big lot fee.
So it sounds like what this has allowed you to do is to really start making, before it sounds like you were just existing, but now it sounds like you're able to actually plan for your future, because you have the ability to save and to have a hope that you can do something, that you'll have the resources to do something else.
Right, I didn't have that. I really didn't know. I couldn't even look ahead. But now I can.
Well, Beth, thank you so much for
You're
sharing this. The
welcome.
good, the
Thank
bad,
you,
the
Carol.
ugly of, you know, being a nomad at 70. But for you, it is working out.
It's been a good thing for me.
Well, you know what? Let's go ahead and just take a quick look at your SUV and how you have it reconfigured now.